I built my workshop to be as modular as possible, meaning different sections of this very small workshop are dedicated to different tasks, different types of work. Without giving you an entire workshop tour at the moment, I can give you a couple of examples. This steel welding table is mounted on casters. When I need to do some welding, I pull it out. Once I'm done, push it back in. My table saw right here, also mounted on casters. Same principle, very tidy, and it gets out of the way. I've got some hand tools here. That's sort of a section, a module. I've got some power tools, some on shelves, some on a counter. Nothing compared to the amazing makers you see with their huge workshops. That's what I've got. Back here, we've got a storeroom of sorts. This is dedicated to my groove bowl project, and this is for karaoke. Call this a design table. We've got soldering and electronics, more parts. Everything is mounted on casters and wheels. Workbenches, which get out of the way once you're done. Even my trash can is mounted on wheels. But one workbench has always been a bit of a pain. It's always been a challenge. This one here, which was to serve two purposes, but it needs to be modified. On one side, it's a bar, but flipped around, it should be more work-oriented and allow for more storage. Or that's what I had in mind when I set this up. This heavy structure, mounted on casters, was to roll right out of this alcove, make use of this surface, or flip around for its secondary function. This module is the mullet of workbenches. Business in front, party in back. Except at the moment, it's, well, you get it, right? But the problem has always been the wheels. When I first welded the wheels on this frame, all four wheels were able to rotate freely. This would allow me to spin the bench around. Caster wheels are designed slightly off axis so that the wheel follows behind the pivot point. So as soon as the wheel starts moving, they flip around to lag behind the direction of movement. That would have been perfect if not for the very tight space the wheels had to fit in. The bench would roll in, but as soon as I'd pull it out, the wheels would spin around and bind instantly. So I installed these rails to guide the wheels, which was less than optimal. So then I locked the wheels in position by welding them. The workbench rolls out, rolls in, does not rotate at all. That's something I now know. Casters need to pivot so whatever they're supporting can rotate. If I want this workbench to ever work as I'd like to, I'll need to free up the wheels and move them inwards so they don't bind up. Apart from wanting to use all this empty space back here for storage, there's another very good reason I want to keep these bottles out of sight some of the time. Every year around mid-September, a bunch of makers get together in my workshop to create elaborate Halloween costumes for children with special needs. Families visiting with their young children might be less than impressed by my bar. But as soon as they leave, we concoct signature cocktails based on the costumes, such as last year's Cinnamony Fire Dog, inspired by Felix's Marshall the Firefighting Dalmatian from Paw Patrol, and the Red Planet, based on the planet Mars and Emil's Perseverance rover. That stuff was amazing. So I've got to take all of this stuff out. While I'm at it, I might as well dust everything off. This is as good a time as any to thank today's sponsor, that long-handled shovel, which I hit myself in the face with and got this free black eye. Thank you, long-handled shovel. Another item I'd like to clear up with you. This mess of bottles here might lead you to believe I'm a drinker of legendary proportions. Though I do drink socially, most of these bottles are here in my workshop because they've migrated from my living space upstairs. And since I don't drink much, many bottles have accumulated over the years. Some were passed down from the bar my parents had, while others were brought in by friends for social occasions. You're more likely to see me with a pint of cider than a mixed drink, except for those occasions when I'm serving bar or we're doing a toast. Then, yeah, I might have a shot. And you might have been wondering what this wire here is for, dangling from underneath the bar, this workbench, with the plug. Well, this powers a series of LED lights which make the bottles even prettier. Back to the task at hand. I need to remove and free up the caster wheels. I'm using an angle grinder with cut-off and grinding discs. And anyone who's ever worked with these abrasive discs know how they smell. Maybe it's the smell of the resins which bind the abrasives as they wear down and burn away. But I've noticed the same smell from a sealed pack of flux-infused MIG wire. That same sulfury, fishy smell. For whatever reason, the binders have something in common with the smell of freshly opened fluxed wire.
I love the smell of fluxed wire in the morning.
To get the wheels to work correctly and not have the wheel brake spin around and hit the sides of the wall, it needs to clear this edge. And I don't have a lot of leeway. Actually, none. I'm thinking I'll have to remove this angle iron, possibly move it to the other side, and then use this one here, which is actually an old bed frame, well, part of the bed frame, and weld it to the interior. Yeah, I think that would work. At first, I thought I could free up the wheels by cutting through the tacks I'd previously welded to keep the casters aligned. I think I might have welded some of the ball bearings. This worked on only one of the 4 wheels. I'll put those aside and install new casters. Please enjoy the short musical interlude.
Boys, music please. 1 and 2 and...
The casters spin freely and they don't hit the walls. Now all I need is to build some shelves for storage on the business side of the workbench, and this is exactly why I keep cut-offs of plywood. dry fitting the shelves into the workbench, I got an idea of exactly what I could fit in there and where a midway support for the top shelf should be. Several variations later, I'm still not exactly set on how things should fit in. This problematic workbench with its wonky wheels, it had so much potential which I couldn't fully exploit. And now, just being able to gather all the tools, in this case mostly the items I use to shoot these videos, in one place, safe in my workshop, and mostly dust-free, it'll streamline my production process. I still need to label these containers without committing completely because I'm certain the contents will change with time. But for now, I'm really happy with this. And I'm happy that you were there, here, sharing in my happiness, which makes me even happier in a never expanding cycle of happiness. So, thank you, and see you next time.